right, welcome back to GDC 2022. We are Thursday afternoon now, and I am Jim Schultz. I'm the head of community at Incredibuild, and I have with me Shifra Smith, the director of business development at Incredibuild. Thanks for coming down to talk to me.
Thank you for having me. This is so fun.
Will you take just a second, just introduce yourself? I kind of already did it, but just who you are, what you do at Incredibuild.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm Shifra Smith. I am the Global Director of Business Development. So I manage all of the teams that are dealing with developing business, right? Obviously, it's not helpful when I say it that way, but we deal with all of the incoming leads, people that come to the website, people that come to awesome conferences like this. And we try our best to help them and make sure that they're getting what they need from Incredibuild.
Your team are the first people that our customers get to talk to.
They are always the first, yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Well, I really wanted to talk to you specifically because I joined the company almost a year ago now. In fact, when I was interviewing with the company.
I can't believe it's been a year.
I know. Okay. I don't look older at all, right?
Not at all.
But when I joined the company, before I did, I was talking to Tammy, who was our CEO. I was talking to Galia, who was at the time VP of Marketing. I talked to Dana, who's our VP of Product. I was like, wow, they have a lot of women executives at this company, which is, I think, the first time I've ever seen that many where they outnumber the men at the company. But it wasn't just because they were women. I thought they were great. The reason I joined is because I wanted to work with all these people. But would you take a minute to talk about that, just being a woman who's also in a leadership role at the company, just about the importance that Incredibuild puts on not just hiring a lot of women, but making sure that we have a diverse cast of characters in the company?
Yeah, definitely. I actually started at Incredibuild. Wow, I'm into the 4th year now, which seems so crazy to say.
Somebody asked me, I said, it's probably at least a year and a half.
It seems really crazy to say, but when I started, we had, I would say, a normal ratio. I never really thought much about there being a lot of women, and then slowly, Tammy started a couple months after. So our CEO, Tammy, who's, I've never worked for a female CEO before, and it's something that the second that I heard she was coming, I was so excited about it because she's, like you said, it's not just that she's a woman, she's got an incredible resume, and also I get to work for a woman, and then slowly but surely kind of the whole cast of, VPs and top directors and really influential people in the company, we started hiring women, and I think it's something it's very rare to find, I would say, especially in a very technical product. When you have VPs of product and VPs of technology and R&D and roles like that, finance can even be a little bit, depends where you are, male dominated. So I think it's really, really nice to see that kind of a trend started just naturally, and we've really grown into that, and it's great. I love it.
Yeah. I think I think what it said to me was they're just looking for the right people, period, right?
It's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you are the global director of business development. Can you talk a little bit about the initiatives around that? Like, this is a quickly growing company. It's grown a lot since I've been here.
Yes.
Your team I've seen not explode in a bad way, in a good way.
Right.
Grow very fast.
I like that you clarified that. Yeah. So I was actually the first, person to do sales development or business development at Incredibuild. They hired 2 of us right at the same time, and it was something that didn't exist. We had never had any sort of kind of front door to our leads and our people that are interested in the product and that, meet us at conferences and all that kind of stuff. So when I started, it was really bare bones, and it was a lot of figuring out, how do we want to set this up? What's our messaging? What are our initiatives? What are people supposed to be paying attention to on, the business development side of things? Since then, my team is now 18. And we've got a new team.
18 years old. They're older than that.
Not by much, but they are older. Not by much. Yeah, so we've got a big team in Tel Aviv. We actually also have a Chinese team, so we do Chinese sales development, and also a team in New York. And it's just, it's really exciting. I think it's something that, as the company grows, your initiative is to grow your business and grow your customer base and grow your marketing and grow everything that you're doing. You want more people to know about you, which means you have more people coming in that have questions or, that want to speak to somebody and hear more. So my team has definitely been very busy. And I think, like we're here at this conference, so now that we hope we'll be able to go to more stuff face to face and go to more conferences. Our initiatives will grow as well in that sense. So making sure that we have more face to face meetings and we're doing more cool activities, whether it's dinners with potential people that are interested or conferences, and then growing along with marketing, right? If we keep doing awesome webinars and we keep doing really cool virtual events as well, that's a big thing for us. Making sure that we get to talk to everybody and get to hear their questions and hear what brought them to us. So.
Yeah, well, you've hired a great team. I've got to spend time with them before, met them a few times, and worked with them in New York, but then seeing them here too, interacting with our customers, they're awesome.
They're awesome. I know. This is actually my first time meeting them face to face, which is so crazy. You get to interview people and hire them. Isn't that crazy?
I've met them and you haven't.
I know. And also sometimes you have this image of what people look like behind a screen because you only see this much of them and you see it 3 times a week, so you think and then all of a sudden you see them in person and you're like, wait a minute, you're really tall. You wear totally different shoes than what I would have expected.
Right, exactly.
It's been a really cool trip to be able to get to actually.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to have you here in the U.S. too.
It's
we get
so
to help.
fun, I know.
One more thing I wanted to ask you about too, because and we were laughing about it because I said, I think I want to ask you about this because to me it seems like a unique experience, but I think living in Israel, it's really not that unique. A lot of people live in the U.S. or live in Europe and other parts of the world and move to Israel. And you did. You grew up in Tennessee.
Yes, you got it right, not Kentucky.
You grew up in Tennessee and moved to Israel as a young adult, right?
Yeah,
on your
18.
own.
Yeah, I was 18, yeah.
So you moved out there on your own and then started working in this field and then started working with an Israeli technology company, Incredibuild, then started building out a local team, and then suddenly you're building out a global team. Mm-hmm. So now you're back in the US where you have, I think it's cool because you have that perspective both from Israel and from the US, and now you're getting a perspective from China and other parts of the world. Can you talk about that a little bit? Yeah, do you think there are advantages to that, and how has that worked for you?
Yeah, it's such a big question. I think it's, kind of in this world that we live in where things become very global very quickly, it's really interesting. I was actually just joking today that someone said, oh, your Hebrew's really good. Someone who doesn't speak Hebrew said that, because if they did, they'd know it's not very good. But I made a joke because when I moved to Israel, I spent my first 2 years in really intensive language learning classes all day, every day, so that I could be perfect at Hebrew.
Right.
And then the minute that I finished my degree, I learned that no one wants you to speak Hebrew in Israel when you're a native speaker. They want native English, because when tech companies have sales teams, you work with Europe, you work with America, you work with people that, native English is a really big plus. So I always joke that I wasted 2 years learning a language that no one wanted me to speak. But I think that it's been really cool to kind of have, first of all, to be able to teach my teams in different places the mix of cultures that I've learned at this point, because you have a lot of, I learned a lot of really good basis of, politeness and manners. I'm from the South, so you have a lot of cultural pieces of that I think the Middle Eastern culture doesn't necessarily know or use in the day-to-day. And then on the other side, you've got this Middle Eastern part of being, very assertive and being very clear about what you want. Which I'm sure you've noticed.
So before I joined the company too, I'd never worked with an Israeli company, and so I was like, well, are the cultures that much different? What's it gonna be like? So I talked to friends who worked with Israeli companies, and then I watched some videos, and then I was like, why did you watch videos?
Like YouTube videos?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There's some lady who's got a whole program about it, but anyway, that was one of the things. They're very direct and very assertive. I think they're a lot like New Yorkers.
Exactly like New Yorkers.
So if you can deal with that, and I think that's a good thing in a lot of cases in business, right? But I was very pleasantly, not surprised, but just very happy that my best hopes all came true. That it was my experience with working with the company and everybody in Israel is they're very, very welcoming and helpful and encouraging and everyone's always willing to roll their sleeves up and do whatever it takes together to get something done. So I've been very, very happy. I think it's just a great international team, right? And I don't feel like it's an Israeli company. I feel like we're an international team.
Yeah, it adds a lot. I don't think people realize to have, 5 people out of 10 that are all from different places, when you have a meeting about how to best tackle a problem, it really adds a lot. I think that it's invaluable, honestly.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
I do have one more question for you.
I'm ready.
And I hope you're ready, because I did not give you the warning about this one. Easy question, though. We're asking everyone that we're talking to.
Okay.
We're at GDC, big gaming conference. Can you talk about one of your favorite gaming memories? So go back to when you played games in Tennessee, or something you do now, anything you'd like.
I actually was just telling someone today, like I don't play console games like in my adult life. I don't really play many games, but I do know all the games that all the companies make. So when they come up, I try to think about the games, and sometimes I'm very outdated because I'm thinking about games that they made, back when I was 11, 12.
Right.
And I'm talking about these games that are so not up to date. But I will tell you that I grew up with 7 brothers. Okay, so we had a very serious hierarchy in the house. And the only people who got TV remote privileges, who got shotgun privileges, who got any sort of anything that required respect were the people who won video games. Okay, so we would have video game tournaments, me and my brothers, and I was never very good at that. And it was like, if you didn't win the game that day, you weren't allowed to do anything. It was like a serious hierarchical issue in the house.
These were rules from your parents or your brothers?
This was I don't know, it was this social
just a
dynamic
unspoken
that just
agreement.
happened, and then it never left. And it stayed that way. They were still doing it when they were 16, 17, and I had already left the house. And they would be betting on who's gonna use the car for the whole week based on who was gonna win this video game or not. So it's something where I feel like I have very fond memories of, the whole culture of people who like games. I'll never forget how many times I lost at Tony Hawk when I was 14 years old, but either way, they're very fun memories.
Oh gosh, I better not do that at home because my kids will do whatever they want. I'll lose everything to them.
If you're not good at them, what are you gonna do? I just sat in the back seat my whole life. It's fine, I'm over it.
Conspiracy. Shifra, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. This
Looking
was
forward
great.
to
Thank
hanging
you,
out
Jen.
for the rest of this week, and then I'm sure I'll see you in Israel again soon.
Yes, please come.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
so much.
Thank you.
Yep.